heavens above, and I believe in truth. I believe in the love we have, because I believe in you. So tell me, do you feel the way that I feel? Then tell me, would you give what I'm willing to give? And I believe in honesty, and I believe it's true, and I believe if you set it free, it will come back to you. And I believe that things were meant to really be, and I believe in the love we have, because I believe in you.
And good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to UCY.TV. I'm standing in host with Cynthia Brooks returning today. And she'll be calling in here just a few minutes with her guest, healer and activist Sandy White. So welcome, everybody listening along live right now in chat. Glad to have you here. And looks like we're going to have her calling in now. And hopefully this is all going to go very well. And I believe we do have her on the line. Welcome, Cynthia. I think you do.
Hello. Am I on this line?
Yes, you are. Is this Cynthia?
I'm sorry. I was calling back the number that I called to get through to Russ for Geoengineering Watch.
You bet. Geoengineering
He was going to get back to me about something, and I thought this was just his number. I'm sorry if I bothered.
Yeah, this is the network line. Welcome. Yes, I was listening to you, and Russ saved your number from caller ID there when you called in. I remember your call, and I forgot your name.
I'm sorry, Joan.
Hi, Joan. Yeah, I'm Vincent, and you can give a shout out live on air right now. You're on Cancer Kickers.
Cancer Kickers?
On UCY.TV.
Okay. Well, I'll watch that more in the future. But you don't know by any chance, do you, how I could get this look-up video, DVD? It's not on Skyder Alert that I could find, except in the app form, and I don't have a cell phone. I don't have an iPod. I don't have any of those things. So, and I don't send things over the internet. So money over the internet. So it should be available somehow, some way.
I'll tell you what. I'll send Russ a message after I get off air and remind him to give you a call, and and he'll get y'all straightened out. I'm pretty sure Dane, I believe, said that he would send you that video personally himself.
Oh, I didn't understand that, but that would be good.
Awesome.
Okay. Well, you have a good show.
Thank you, Joan. And it was nice listening to you earlier today.
You too.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, here we go, y'all. So Cynthia will be calling in here in just a little bit. I thought that was her. You know what? I thought I would start out this show and talk a little bit about how we do communicate with one another. And so many times we take the position that we're right, what we believe is right, and everybody else is wrong. And I think it's important to realize and remember that we all have a little different perspective. So when trying to communicate certain information, especially like geoengineering, or the topic. There's my tongue trip award from Mr. Chucko Jelly coming up later tonight in a couple hours, about 3 hours. Let's see. I'll have to start rounding up. 3 hours. And this is Cynthia calling in. So I'm going to bring her in and stand her. I did it. I answered instead of adding to call. I had three things going on in my mind and chased myself in a circle and hung up on myself. So we are back. Hopefully, Cynthia will call back in just a moment. And in the meantime, let me get back to, and here she is. And this time, add to call group. Okay. Hi, Cynthia. I hung up on us on the network. I answered your call instead of adding you.
Oh, Vinny.
I did it. So stand by with me a minute. I'm talking about communicating with one another. And this, I'm going to
not
read.
Hanging up on each other?
Yes, exactly. How funny, huh? So this comes from the official homepage for the four agreements. And real quick and short, for the four agreements is be impeccable with your words. Speak with integrity. Say only what you mean. Avoid using the word to speak against yourself or to gossip about others. Use the power of your word in the direction of truth and love. Two is don't take anything personally. Nothing others do is because of you. What others say and do is a projection of their own reality, their own dream. When you are immune to the opinions and actions of others, you won't be the victim of needless suffering. Number three is don't make assumptions. Find the courage to ask questions and express what you really want. Communication with others. Communicate with others as clearly as you can to avoid misunderstandings, sadness, and drama. With just this one agreement, you can completely transform your life. And number four, always do your best. Your best is going to change from moment to moment, of course, and it will differ. It will be different when you are healthy as opposed to sick, being sick. Under any circumstance, simply do your best, and you will avoid self-judgment, self-abuse, and regret. So, I know, you know, we all get hung up sometimes, right? And so maybe just a little reflection. Yeah, hey guys, okay, I'm back in chat now. Jax, Mr. Cooper, Anon, I am back. It's always my fault. Rule number one, Jax, it's always my fault. So, Cynthia, you're way up there in the land of that previously visited a few decades ago by Humphrey Bogart in the High Sierras.
Yeah, it's amazing. And so, just so everybody knows, like, we're up on a mountaintop, and I'm staying with one of the most amazing women I have ever met in my entire life, and she's our guest for the show. So if there's little technos or goes in and out, and just bear with us. And if you hear frogs and birds and crazy stuff in the background.
Crickets. That's what Hal Anthony says, crickets. He says stuff and all he hears is crickets.
He can hear crickets?
He's not listening now, but no, he uses that on his own program, Behind the Woodshed. That's on tomorrow here in UCY, more afternoon. Tune in for Hal Anthony, Behind the Woodshed. Plug.
Awesome. Well, I've just been through, I want to thank my thank yous, you guys, the UCY listeners, you guys have been amazing. Just so wonderful and kind and supportive. It's been a really, really one of the rough times of my life the past couple of months, as a lot of you know. And just thank you so much, and thank you, UCY TV, for bearing with me through all of this. A huge thank you to Vincent Easley for, covering my ass.
I'm all over that, girl.
That's what you tell me. And I also, someone who's been so helpful, I just want to do a big shout out right now to, of all things, and I've thanked them before, the guys over at Zach's Pawn Shop. This place is amazing. Raphael there has been so sweet and supportive. And all my LA people, you guys got to go in there. It's Zach's Pawn Shop, and it's just so much fun. Right over there on Santa Monica, Highland, La Brea area. They're just so wonderful, and they've been really supportive of me, and I just want to really do a great shout-out. And it's a great business, and they really run things great, and they're so kind. And I just want to thank them so much for all of their support. And like I said, it's a great place. You guys, you got to go in there, my LA Fit friends, because it's crazy. It's awesome. Also, just, well, I want to thank, my guest already ahead of time, because she's just been so dear and so wonderful. And she's such an amazing woman. You guys are going to love listening to her talk. She's an amazing healer, amazing hands-on healer. We've had her on the show before. We had her on the show back when it was icurecancer.com, a little more than a year ago. So some of you guys who have been listening all this time, you're going to, you know what I mean, you'll probably recognize her. And she's been this amazing activist, specifically for female rights across the board, on every kind of female right. And I mean, she's gotten more laws passed. She's, running into court, running into the governor's office, doing all this stuff over the years. Since when now? The 60s? The 70s?
Yeah, the 60s.
The 60s. She's just been this amazing activist.
Yeah, and banned the bomb in the 50s. No nukes, all that stuff, and civil rights.
Can you guys hear her okay?
Little low on.
What's that?
Little bit low on volume.
Okay. Is this better, guys?
You're good. Our guest is a little bit low on her end of the volume.
Okay, no problem. We'll just hold the microphone closer to her. So her name is Sandy White. It used to be Sandy Horsey.
Well, it's Sandy White is my maiden name, and that's the name that people know me by. I have a married name too, but White will work.
You can find her on Facebook too. She's all over the place. Always
Sandy White.
Can you guys hear her okay now?
Yeah, it's better. But if you got a little bit closer. And we've got visions in people's minds now about covering you behind in chat, they're saying. So if we set you all a little bit closer together, we're really going to excite some imagination, I think.
Well, I'm not in front of the computer, and I can't be because we're calling in on a cell. So we're outside. So can you tell me some of the stuff that's going on in chat? Because I missed the chat room.
Yeah. We were talking about crickets and staples to keep them in corners. And I said cowboy boots work well for that, for catching crickets in the corner. And Jack says it's about style. And let's see. Anon says that way we can have a barn dance and pest control at the same time. And Jack says, just don't have a hoedown showdown.
That's hysterical. Oh, my God. I'm glad nothing's changed since I've been gone.
And Dan B. Cooper, he says, Die Führer, I can't pronounce, I have to go back and find it, but it's in German. It says, the Führer speaks. Spricht. I'm not very good in German pronunciation. And some more German here. It's our little inside joke. Dan, of course, is my favorite Nazi. That's a joke. But anyways, yeah.
Who's your favorite Nazi?
Dan B. Cooper in chat now. And I can't,
okay.
And I can't even try to pronounce this in German. Mein Führer was sind Herr auf Rasch. I don't know. I don't have a German vocabulary.
You sound like you're having an aneurysm right now, Vinny.
Thank you. Ja, der Führer.
Our Nazi's going to have to work with you on the German a little bit, I think.
Okay, good. We got butts in the chat room now.
Who's in the chat room?
We have butts in the chat room. Illustration of butts in the chat room. I told you we would excite some imagination.
Got it. Just as long as my face isn't on that butt, I'm okay. So
I've got those pictures hidden from everybody. I'm not sharing those with anybody but myself. Hey, do a search engine though. Hey, no telling what you'll find. Cynthia Brooks butt.
Oh my God. Okay, yeah, because there's a lot of us out. There's only one Cynthia Brooks. That's why I had to put the J in front of my name. But there's a Cindy Brooks, who was a Playmate, a Cynthia Brooks, who was a huge porn star. There's a number of us out there. Oh, yeah. And the funniest part, the part that I liked the most, this was back years ago. This was even before video came, or right as video was kind of making its way, video players. I'm really dating myself, I know. I don't know how I remember this being 25 years old, but I read about it. Anyway, okay, that joke didn't fly. Moving on.
I was mute, so I didn't spit.
Okay. I think you guys would crack up at this. Some of you, the younger listeners, they're not going to know this, but if you wanted to go in the old days to watch a porno, you actually had to go to the movie theater because there were no videotapes, or you rented these horrible kind of reel-to-reel things. It was an old projector kind of thing, and like I've seen in the old days, but what was more, well, I don't know which was more popular, but I know that you had to go to the theater to go see a porno. And I was working as a waitress over in Arcadia by the Santa Anita racetrack. And they started, the other waiters and waitresses, the word got out, and in the back of the newspapers back then, they would have all of, like, at first it was all, like, the clean movies, you know what I mean, the good movies, and you didn't go online because there were no computers. You'd open the paper in the back and to see, where Love Story is playing, or to see, what movie, where it's playing and the times and all of that. But the way in the back was the pornos. And they kept advertising, like, Cynthia Brooks, Triple X, nasty woman from hell, and things like this. And they kept bringing in, and I used to have them. I don't know where they are now from all this moving, but they're freaking hilarious. And the worst part is that they showed the picture of the girl, and she'd be topless, but they had to black out the boobs and everything, and we looked alike.
Well, since we're on this here, I will go ahead and read some from your Facebook post. And Lisa Smith asked what time. I said in an hour, and she says, "You're always so quick." And I said, "Being too quick's not always good." And she said, "I bet you're slow when you need to be." LOL. So yeah, that's one of the things about being easy.
I bet you are too.
Yeah, I'll do it in a New York minute and take my Texas time doing it.
Hey, do you want to bring up your joke about having sex with me last night?
Oh yeah, and hopefully next time you will be there. We have a new listener, I Lies. They say this is their first day here. They like the anti-media. So welcome, I Lies, to chat.
Oh, awesome. Well, we're going to get a little bit serious, not too serious, and in 2 seconds. So just me and Vinny aren't happy unless we're goofing around and in the smut and in the dirt and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Just the way I like it. And you know what? I'll go ahead and jump in just a couple minutes earlier, and then I'll turn the mic over to you two and let y'all take it away.
Okay.
And I'm going to go ahead with the 420 report from the Buzz Beaver, and this is from the 420magazine.coms on forums. We're going to run through a little bit of 420 news here. So, California, why this billionaire is betting big on marijuana. Washington, bill would toss out marijuana misdemeanor convictions. In Minnesota, Red Lake, I said that right, Minnesota, right? Red Lake banned moles growing marijuana illegally following justice ruling. From Australia, cannabis oil man facing criminal charges over daughter's treatment. Also from Australia, laborers plan to abandon cannabis trials irresponsible, says health minister. From Florida, state names medical marijuana rulemakers. Colorado sets standards for marijuana regulation. Rhode Island, first medical marijuana vapor lounge to open in Providence. Federal judge says no to Washington family medical marijuana defense. Northern California tried plans marijuana farm. Kansas, senator says legalized medical marijuana is inevitable. And California council orders all medical marijuana dispensaries closed. So we get a lot of conflicting information here. First of all, I'd like to say that legalization is not what really we want. We want it not to be illegal. So check more for definition on that. And with that, 420 report from the Buzz Beaver. We go back to J. Cynthia live now with her guest, Cindy. So welcome and take it away.
Well, before I get started and before I forget, I want to help you guys with this. And I'm not 100% sure how to do it, but I'm going to try to figure it out. Vinny was talking, we were talking earlier today, and he was having problems with his sinuses, and it went back, it came back, and then it went away. And a number of people have been talking about this. I know a product that is amazing for that, and it cures the common cold, and it cures it that day. Now, what this product is down in Los Angeles, actually in North Hollywood. I stumbled upon this. There's this genius guy who makes all these, compulsions and all of that stuff. And the main component is birch tree sugar, xylitol. It has to be the xylitol from birch tree sugar. I don't know if you guys have noticed now, whenever something comes up and it's working really well, then all of the other, fake copycats, come along. And there's a lot of fake and artificial xylitol out there. But I know, and I'm just trying, what he does is he gets the xylitol, the birch tree sugar, the xylitol, down to a powder, and you can, it's a white powder, trust me, you guys, and you can actually snort it. And it gets there, it gets into your nose, and the thing about that is the bacteria that's causing the sinus problems, the bacteria that's causing a common cold, actually some stomach cancers it's been curing. What it does is that it's very attracted, I'll say it in layman's terms, it's very attracted to the birch tree sugar. And what it kind of does is it eats it and it feeds on it like a goldfish, and it stuffs itself and it kills itself. The bacteria does.
Here, take this, man.
What's that?
Here, take this, man. What is it? Yeah. Just take it.
It's just
Tommy Chong.
Yeah, I've done that. I've done that a lot of times. People come to my house and I have a cold, and I'm like, well, you got to snort this. And
wait a minute,
I'll do it with them.
Don't take that, man. It's too late. Fir tree oil is really great too, and I don't have any actually right now. So I keep interrupting you. I'm gonna shut up. I said I would. It's back to you, J. Cynthia, and hi again, lies. So. If you're listening now or if you're listening downstream, be sure to come back to UCY. We have a chat room. It's connected to all the shows. You're certainly welcome here, and we'll give you a big howdy and how-do when you get here. So back to you.
Yeah, and also about the xylitol, it works so well as a toothpaste as well. There's a couple of brands that have it. You want to look on the back, and if they don't say the source, if they say the main ingredient should be xylitol and then in parentheses from birch tree, then there's a brand, I can't say it on air, but there's a brand that does that. That's a really good brand. You guys are so savvy, you know what I'm talking about. But anyway, I just wanted to get that out there, and I was just thinking perhaps Vinny could make his own contraption with birch tree sugar, and sometimes this guy puts some niacin in it, sometimes not, because some people are niacin sensitive, and just a couple other ingredients. I don't think you can still yet get it online, but I could be wrong. I'll do the research. I'll post it. But I just wanted to put it out there because I know that a lot of people have been having sinus and tooth problems and things like that with this weather. And so just wanted to little information right there.
Cool.
So anyway, we're getting it.
And I'll interrupt you one more time, even though I said I wouldn't. JJ has againstthewall.info, and he's added the chat room there also. JJ is a standing host at UCY. Here, of course, your friend of mine, J. Cynthia. And also I'd add that birch trees can be tapped like maple for their sugars, and I imagine you might be able to do that. I know we got river birch here, so, that's something that you can procure yourself is some sugars from the birch tree then.
Birch tree, yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's so funny because I'm sitting here with my guest, and she just pointed, and she's like, that's a birch tree right there. So we got one right in front of us, so we're going to rape it after the show. Okay.
Now, I'm trying to remember when the sap flows. I'm thinking it's, I always see them doing it with snow, but I believe it's in the springtime when the sap flows, and you put a little hole in the tree, just drill in there, and they make taps, or you could put your own, make your own little tap with a straw or whatever. You catch now it takes for a good maple tree sap to produce 1 gallon of syrup. It takes like 50 gallons, so you can imagine it would take a lot of sap, and reducing that with the low heat So you might even just be able to get sap and put it in a sinus-like bottle and spray up your nose. I bet that would work. Just an idea.
That would work too. Yeah. There you go. You should try that, Vinny. Be our guinea pig. Be our sexy guinea pig.
All right. And I do have nude pictures available of myself.
How much do they cost?
They're free. I'm a narcissist, so.
Well, anyway, I want to get over to Sandy. She's been great. She's cracking up here. So, like I said, she's an amazing activist and been doing this, and she has just like helped. The list goes on and on and on. But also, what I wanted to more focus on today is that she's this amazing healer. Not only does she know a gazillion different cures for every disease, and she's always on Facebook. She's always on the phone helping people. No matter what, she has helped me. But I really wanted to focus in on her, and she's okay with this. Her work as a hands-on healer, and even in this area, people call her from like the emergency room or something. And they're like, "You got to get down here. We're going to lose them," and all that stuff. And so I'm curious. I have some questions. I'm just curious, like how many different techniques, or as a hands-on healer, or you don't have to give an exact number. Do you just know one and add on as you go along?
Well, to begin with, it was just bringing in the healing light and energy and then projecting it out without hands-on. Okay, because people weren't ready for that. I would scare people if I walked up and tried to heal them, that way. So I learned how to do prayer and meditation and to take this energy and project out. And then in hospitals, I would just sit quietly, bring in the energy, and then surround that person in the healing energy. And that's what I did for years. It was in about 1970 that I got into a relationship with a mystic osteopath, and I was in need of healing at that time. And so he did massage on me, plus healing. Can they hear me?
Yeah. I want to do a sound check. Can you guys hear her okay?
Sounding good.
Okay. Well, can I ask you, because I'm not 100% sure what an what did you call it, what kind of healing modality?
They do a lot of stuff with the bones. I don't have the true medical description, but osteopaths and medical doctors go to the same school. Where it divides is that medical doctors use synthetic chemical drugs, surgery, so forth and so on, as their form of medicine. Osteopathy, osteopaths use natural medicine, so they're using herbs and nutrition and food supplements, and they move and work the body. It's different than chiropractic, but it's very similar.
Right.
He could do surgery, but that would only be the last resort.
Right. I understand.
So when MDs graduate and osteopaths graduate, they get the same license called medical doctor.
Right.
But there's an OD, doctor of osteopathy or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Anyways, and that's the difference. It's a holistic concept of healing versus conventional, traditional medicine.
And so you learned a great deal from him when he was working on you?
Yes, I did. And he was a mystic, so he was tapped in to whatever that source energy is, the God part of us, the divine part of us, the perfection of us. And so it became spirit, mind, emotion, and body.
Got it. Yeah, and you guys remember that I'm always about, like, as I cured myself of cancer, I was always like, it's mind, body, spirit. Well, I want to ask the big question.
Okay.
This woman, she's just so amazing. And, I kind of got caught in a weird tailspin, and there's a lot of that in LA, as you guys know, especially Hollywood and my business and all that. And she said to me, you need to come up here and be loved for who you truly are. And it really brought tears to my eyes. It really moved me. And she does this. Like, she just looks at you, and she just emanates love, and she just knows who you truly are. And my big question is, you know, when and how did you learn to start loving people unconditionally for who they truly are?
Well, I was born this way. What can I say? And it took me, a couple of decades to figure it all out. But if you're truly tapped into the divine source of yourself, that great love wave, essence, whatever it is, then you see that in others. And so as a healer, that's what I learned to see. I didn't see the broken arm. I didn't see the cancer. I didn't see the clogged colon, even though I could see it and pick it up. When I went to heal it, I only visualized perfection, because we are perfect. You know, we represent that divine source of love in the universe, and we are that. That is truly who we are.
Yeah, yeah.
So I keep that vision and I keep that energy. And then the only way I deviate from that is that I work on the cells, because we're trillions of cells.
Yeah.
But I always remember that God is within and God is without.
Mm-hmm.
So those cells are perfect. So I vibrate that perfection and send it into the body, and it heals.
Right, right. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And then you said something really wonderful earlier about, let's see, I'm going to misquote you, so I want you to, yeah, something like people need to let all the healing help in, not just half. You said something about that?
Oh, yeah. Well, that's it. You know, you have to ask to be open and receptive to that divine healing flow. And the more you can open, the more vast it becomes, and the more you let that in, the more healing you get.
Right.
Okay. Most people are in resistance, or they don't believe it, and they have all this stuff going on, or it's just partially. But the more you can receive, the more that you can have, the more the depth of the healing.
Right. 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 So that's, in your opinion, why some people, you know, they partially heal.
Right.
But
it's true. You you can't have what you can't receive.
That's awesome. Oh my God.
Well, it's true. I mean, I have projected until I was just blue in the face, and the real truth is that person couldn't receive, or they've gotten the healing and they can't keep it.
Right.
They close back down and they can't keep it.
Right. Right.
So.
Would that be one of your explanations why? Because what's going on now, I mean, I've said this before, so those you guys who listen, I'm sorry if I'm boring you, but I'm a boring person, so there it is. No, I didn't realize, like, okay, I cured myself of cancer on my own, blah, blah. But I didn't realize that another victory that was going to be so sort of underlined, I guess, all these years later is that I remained cancer-free, because now there's so much reoccurrence. Is that because they're not letting it in?
Yeah, because they're not letting it in and they're not keeping it.
Right.
Or they're repeating the same patterns, the same behavior. They're eating the same rotten food. You know, our world is more polluted. Never in the history of the earth has there been so much pollution. And it was one of my very, after civil rights, my very beginning activist pieces was to stop this pollution.
Right. And that was back in the 60s?
Yeah. So,
see, she's way ahead of some of us.
And we didn't do it.
Right.
And so we're now paying the price, and now we have chemtrails being sprayed on us. And
oh my God, you guys! I don't know why I thought there would not be chemtrails up here, and you know, because we're in the middle of nowhere, and there's nobody to kill. Really, there's just a few of us up here. And I look up, and I was like, I'm gonna drop the F-bomb. I'm gonna fuck her. Fuckers are spraying up here too. And I know I'm going to get a lot of shit in the chat room for dropping the F-bomb, but, you know, it's me. I'm back.
Well, and we have somebody in the closest little town from here who's been recording, recording all this pollution, and people are having respiratory problems and getting more cancer than they ever used to. And so we had a town hall meeting, and we called our congressman, and we told him about it, and we asked him if he would do something, and he is doing something in Congress.
No kidding. What's he doing?
I don't know what he's doing.
Sitting there.
Even I said, stop the funding to the Navy because they're killing the whales and the dolphins. They've been doing it for 20 years, setting off these bombs and stuff, and it causes them to have cerebral hemorrhage. The Navy just keeps testing and testing and testing and testing and gathers all this information. They have everything they need to know, but they never stop because they get funded for it.
Right.
So stop the funding. So they have to stop.
Exactly. That's really a great.
And that begins in the House of Representatives.
Right.
So that's, you want your congressman in the House of Representatives to hear you and say, stop funding this, stop funding that. Write him a letter, tell him why, call him, bug him, and get petitions together and get in there and see what happens. I mean, I fully participate in the democratic process.
Right. And then the other question I wanted to ask you is, back to a recurrence of cancer or recurrence of any disease, because I witnessed this with my dear friend Stacy, who is on the other side now, and spiritually she's probably sitting right here having a great time. But and it was just I'll tell that a long story some other time, but it was just so bizarre. I feel like sometimes, so much irony, and I know all of my law of attraction people are going to say it's just law of attraction, and it probably is, but the irony, and it was so bizarre because she was a hands-on healer. I met her, she was training as I was with the Essenes. She was a few, for lack of a better word, grades, you know what I mean? I was in first grade and she was in fourth grade or whatever. You have these different levels of education, and I had just started, and that's not long after that's when I got cancer. So I was going over to the Essenes every day and doing hands-on healings, and Stacy was very, very powerful, and she was one of them that was doing the hands-on healing on me and went through the whole process of everything I went through and was there, and so was her mother, Carolyn, went all through it, and she was a crazy clairvoyant, man. She could see anything. She was unbelievable. And she would, things like she could walk into anybody's house who never met you and start saying, who's this older lady with the blonde hair? She's pointing to her hair, and she's got this purple blouse on, and she's pointing to a locket, and you would be like, oh, my God, that's my grandmother, and that's her favorite locket. I mean, yeah, she was amazing. Well, but then years later, about 5 years ago now, then she contracted breast cancer, 100%, cured, and I worked on her. And she was doing everything right, but then reoccurrence. And part of the thing I'm thinking is that not just the dietary and things like that, but she went back to, which is my next question, she went back to her old emotional patterns and relationship patterns.
It all has to change. It all has to clear. With breast cancer, anything that's feminine, you have to look at your body parts and what they represent.
Yeah.
And who that is in your life. So if it's breast, you want to look at your maternal relationships with your mother, with your grandmother, with your great-grandmother, how you relate to other females, what does this breast mean to you? There's all the nurturing and nourishing and giving birth and feeding babies and your relationship with each one of your children. And you have to go in there and you have to find that hurt and that pain, and you have to clear it. It'll clear from the cells, right? But then you may have to need to do the emotional stuff. If you're hurt, cry.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
So write about it, journal about it, and just keep working that way until you feel that you've cleared it. And nothing more will come up once it's clear.
So more like clearing from the emotional body and the electrical body, because I'm hearing now more and more that the electromagnetic body is holding these pictures as well.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's all pictures, and it's all light.
Right.
It's all light? It's all light.
Right.
And in picture form and energy and so forth and so on. It's all in there. I mean, people who read auras see the difference in the aura and can tell you exactly what it is. So with me and my abilities, I can save you thousands and thousands of dollars if you're in a, counseling session or psychiatry, who's never going to get it. I just know where to go. I can see it. I can feel it. I can experience it. And I turn people on to their own cells because there's cellular memory that's also in the cells. So it's about when I went to massage school, which was, a different level of what do you call it? Hands-on healing. Yeah.
There we go.
And that's truly hands-on healing. So, there was 22 of us that joined the class, and mostly everybody joined the class because they were very sick, and some of them had cancer and life-threatening diseases. I joined it because I wanted to be a healer. So I wanted to use my healing ability. Oh, look at that. Look what I could do with that. So anyway, I did. I went zipping in there. And when we were learning the body parts and massaging each other and, learning how to do that, let's say I was massaging the shin. Then what came up was riding your bicycle, and the pedal hitting your shin. But it was almost coming out of the table at me. Those cells were talking.
Wow.
And so that person never missed that. Right. Okay. Wow, I had this memory, right? And sometimes they would be emoting, sometimes they'd be going, ow. And so I just kept massaging it out, and then I would take my hand and I would move the energy. Right. Okay. Right. And so at the end of every session, I would clap my hands. And just say, now we're going to uncord from all that you discovered and all that we healed. And you keep uncording because I didn't want them to pull it back in. Right. So, so that's how I did it. So, so body parts get hurt along the way, and that's all in the cells.
I see. And so I've never heard of the class to uncord, so that's awesome. Right? Yeah.
And I have just been scurry over to the
Okay, Cynthia?
Oh, yeah, okay.
Hey, dear, you're breaking up just a little bit. Maybe you guys can move around a little bit. Hello? Did I lose you?
No, uh-oh.
Okay, we got you back. You're good. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, I got to, you know what the problem is? I got to scoot up a little bit. Am I okay now?
You're wonderful.
The problem is this.
Oops, that all was garbled. Put your left hand over your head, lift your right leg, and wiggle your ankle. Let's see if that improves. Let's see if that improves.
I'm not going to go to phone. I'm not doing it. No, okay. You're awful. You're just awful. You're horrible.
Okay, it sounds like we have your audio back.
Dad does.
Wait a minute. Lift your left hand again. Over your head. Go ahead, Jay Cynthia.
Do you want me to tell you what you should do with the pen?
I think I get it.
Okay. Honey, I wanted to ask you what time it is because I don't have a clock in front of me or any of that.
Okay, we've got 16 minutes of airtime left. Well, 15.
Oh, good. 15 minutes. Okay, good. And will you please, again, thank you so much for jumping in if we're breaking up. This time of day, I've noticed, this is definitely the time of day when, I move a half an inch or a quarter of an inch one way or the other, and it starts picking up. And so, is it okay?
Doing wonderful. I'm sorry. It took me a minute to get back there and unmute. I'm typing. I've got somebody Skyping messaging me in here. He joined in.
Yeah, you were left-handed. Kidding me?
Yeah.
No, you're all too well. Okay, well, I'm curious because a lot of us want to know about this, and I hope this works. I'm wondering next, like, how would you advise someone to break their family patterns? Because a lot of times the family patterns, the emotional, the interactions, you know what I'm saying? I got to say, I did learn. I feel like there's, like, good healers, great healers, not so great. A lot of the psychiatric community don't get it, but there were some good ones. And I did go to a psychologist. She never offered me drugs or anything like that. But I did learn a lot about actually reacting. It's the react back and forth. Because as you all know, my family's a nightmare. I didn't say that. Anyway, so I'm wondering, like, suggestions that you might have that to break the family pattern. So I'm going to move the phone over a little bit and jump if you can't hear her.
First of all, you have to begin to learn. You know, you can.
Breaking up, dear.
Over here.
Yeah, okay, now you're back.
Okay. Well, you know, journaling is really the very best way to do that. When you begin to wonder and ask questions about your family, and it's looking at all those places where you feel unloved, and that's where you have to feel hurt places of rejection. Judgment is a human, and more than physical, this that's a in this study. I mean,
No, doggone. You're breaking up.
An adjustment you can.
There.
So we go moving forward towards the south.
Breaking up.
yeah, here we go.
What's that?
Breaking up.
Oh, shoot.
Okay, there you go.
Okay, so I did good work here. Is that right? Can you hear me? Can you hear Sandy?
I am now.
Okay. So I will just start writing about my feelings and my hurt. It's all mostly about self-image, how you perceive yourself, how others perceive the unworthiness that we're good, and we're raised that this is when you're a good girl or you're a bad girl, and you know, it's a very controlling.
Or you're a whore.
Yeah, you're a whore. Yeah. Others perceiving you that is causing pain. If you just take yourself on, is this true about me? And you tell your truth to yourself down on paper, you know, so just write about those experiences, you know, write a journal pad. Just start healing, spending some time and reflecting on yourself, and write about it and tell you get a clear sense of what this is all about. Ultimately and inevitably, you may experience anger, you know, so experience your anger. Ultimately, inevitably, it gets into forgiveness. It's just letting it go. It doesn't mean that you really have to go and forgive them. You can do a little in writing and letter writing. For something that happened to me, I used to just write a letter to that person and tell them how bad that I hurt and how they hurt me and what they did. And then when I could get to forgiveness, I could say, I forgive you. And then I would never mail it.
Right. Now, did you feel that? Can you hear us, Ben?
Are you there?
Yes, I can. You guys you're doing pretty good now, mostly.
Okay, so that's it. But if you're not getting the healing, if you are, you know, doing your pH balance and you're juicing and you've gotten off the sugar, if you're doing all the stuff that is causing cancer and you're reversing that and you're doing toxin and so forth and so on. And then you try this person's path to healing and this given form, and it's not working to the emotional level.
Right, I totally.
And nobody to hear that mad at me on my pages all the time.
Yeah, I've gotten people mad at me too. Yeah.
But you need to go there, and then I have a therapy process. It goes back to the self, between the self, and self tell you what's there. So it's a two-way communication, but it begins, with writing and or the inner listening, and you have to develop that.
Right. And heard about that, like asking the self. So what would you ask? What exactly might you ask? Say if you had breast cancer, what would you ask them?
I would do the cancer. Why do I have this cancer?
Oh, I see.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is hurting?
Right.
Okay. Find out what those emotional things are. Sometimes women are really mad and really angry at men. Then you have to look at all of that. Sometimes it's about your mother. Sometimes it's about your sister. It's all in there. So it's a question and open to receive it.
Awesome.
Follow it back to the team.
Right.
Okay.
Now, when you said that, can you hear us okay, Vin?
Wunderbar.
Good. So when you were journaling, doing this for yourself, did you reach a point where you kind of feel in your body that let go?
Absolutely. You'll get the release.
Really?
Yeah.
What is that?
The release. Well, it'll be relief.
Okay.
Sometimes there's an energy release.
Right.
Sometimes it's a letting go. Sometimes it's subsided. Sometimes you feel peace. You feel calm.
Right.
And you know that you.
Right. Right. And then is it a little bit also like moving up the vibrational scale? Say if you're depressed, a lot of them, including Abraham, they say sugar is a very good thing because it's better than being depressed, and just don't hang out there too long. Try to move up into, a higher frequency. And it seems like what you're saying is this writing automatically kind of does that for you.
Well, it does. Your vibration will lift, when the heaviness has left, when the hurt and the pain has left.
Right.
So,
yeah, then you
can vibrationally you will climb.
Right.
Yeah.
So then you get into the higher ones of then there's
and the new programming comes because that big hole in there of pain, your wounds, your wounding. We all get wounded, but it's what do we do with our wounding that matters.
Exactly.
So what's that? You got a hole in there. So what do? You fill it up with self-love. You fill it up with divine love. You remember your mother loving you, or your grandmother, or whatever that was.
Yeah.
And forgiveness will bring that too.
Right. What helped me? I wonder what you think. What helped me a lot to get to peace was that as far as the patterns go, is that looking at the patterns and realizing that, like, for example, my mother did whichever she did, but her mother did it to her, and her mother did it to her, and looking at that chain.
Yeah.
Once I realized that, and kind of looking at my mother as a divine being and who she truly is, it kind of like fell by the wayside, any kind of, anger and things like that, you know what I'm saying? And she just didn't know to try to break the chain.
Right.
And so it's like extraordinary people like Sandy and what she's teaching, the people here listening, and those, I think that chain breaking you guys are all extraordinary and rare, and just set an incredible example. One of the things also I wanted to get in there, Sandy's in the process of writing books, and, they're phenomenal. And do you want to tell us, like, one or two books, what they're about? Is it about this subject matter, or they're different? Because you've been talking about two different books, is that right? Am I crazy?
No, it simply started because I was helping people learn what to eat to prevent disease and then to survive cancer, or how to rebuild their body.
Mm-hmm.
So it started with recipes and that sort of thing. And I was born in the middle of 1,000 acres, and I had this incredible grandmother who was a healer, like all grandmothers are. Most grandmas are. And so I just wrote about that, the wholeness of food. You know, she knew where her seeds came from. She traded seeds with her trusted neighbor. You know,
Wow.
she kept them from year to year. So there was no GMOs and that sort of thing. And she just innately and intuitively knew what to plant to keep her family well. Right. And that's what she did.
Right.
And then she knew how to prepare those foods so that we got the ultimate healing, nourishment.
Right.
So it is about being nourished.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
nourishment is a form of love.
Yeah.
And food was love to my grandma. If you were sick, she was going to feed you.
Right.
If she was mad at you, she wouldn't feed you.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, right today. So, you know, I'm not feeding you. So, anyway, that's how she did. And she was known all over the place for being able to heal people. So she taught me about how food is love. And she taught me lots of other things. And she would take me back to the emotional healing part.
Right.
She would say, you know, if so-and-so has had a heart attack, you know, when you feed them, you know, make this fabulous milk cake with all the nutrients in it.
Really?
And you walk it over with love. You hand it to them with love. You give them a pat on the back with love. Look them in the eye and smile.
Wow.
You can get away with saying, I love you. Say, I love you.
Right.
You know.
Right.
And then she would work them around to, she discovered, now it's a common knowledge, that take them back 18 months. And find out what loss they had in their life, what traumas they had in their life.
Is this specifically to heart attacks or any kind
of thing?
Go back
so,
18 months.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Go back 18 months and on, and it usually takes about 18 months to heal.
Oh, wow.
Journey. And
right. Uh-huh.
So that's what she would do. So they would go back, and maybe it was the loss of their wife, the loss of their job,
right,
their loss of their identity somehow. Something shifted in their life and they lost control.
Right.
And so that's in cell, and that's the wounding.
Mm-hmm.
So if they can look at that and talk about that while you're feeding them good things, when they get to the other side of it and have let it go and they have forgiven it as the ultimate healing, right, then they're well.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing. Hey, Vinny, I'm just curious, how much more time do we have now?
We are coming up to the end, and we have a new listener. He's joined here before, but he forgot. So, Jimmy, welcome. Tarpley's coming up next. He was asking me about Webster Tarpley, and he's going to be broadcasting next. So we got a couple of minutes. And really, really quick, let me shout out Mr. Charles Ocelli, the Ocelli Effect, coming up after Tarpley in a couple of hours. His guest is going to be Gillian Treblecock from Australia. He's a broadcaster with People Internet Radio. And I'm going to bid you all love and peace and turn it back to you and let you finish out. We've got about a minute or two before our outro comes in. And thank you, Sandy, for joining in. I really enjoyed it. And
well, thank you for having me. Just find me SandiWhite on Facebook.
One more time slowly.
Oh, Sandi. Sandy, have to be different with an I. White, like color.
Facebook, you guys can reach her. Is that your one page, or do you have many pages?
I've got grandma's, right? Let's see, the cures in the kitchen. There's all kinds of recipes on there and research and so forth, foods to cook and, you know, how to get started. And
Sandy, you have a website.
So
I'm sorry to interrupt you. I want to get it before we run out of time. You have a website?
That's okay. Yeah. You can reach me at, I've got a couple of pages too. You can reach me, J. Cynthia, on Facebook, J. Cynthia Brooks Official. I didn't put that up. Somebody else did. J. Cynthia Brooks Official on Facebook. Or the other one is J. Brooks of Healing. Although sometimes when people search the House of Healing, J. Am I breaking up there?
Yeah, a little bit. But I think we got most of it. Did Cindy have a website besides Facebook?
Oh, the FDA threatened me and they take it. So
That's it, you guys. Love and peace.
That's it. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you, Sandy.
Bye-bye. Talk to you later.
Show.
I believe in angels, and I believe in you. I believe in the simple things and everything you do. I believe in the heavens above, and I believe in truth. had, because I believe in you.
This is Ozzy Skateboard, and you're listening